Hey you guys, good to see you here on Grassroots Gardening. And so today we're going to transplant some of our hydrangea cuttings that we propagated not too long ago. So I stuck these hydrangea cuttings, if you remember the video, this is the exact same milk jug that I used in that older video, but I stuck these cuttings probably about 2.5 months ago. Let me clear us a little room here on our work table. So again, stuck this hydrangea macrophylla cutting about 10 weeks ago. I haven't checked the root system. I just come in and give it a gentle little tug and I can feel that it's really secured itself into the soil good. So I know it's got a good many roots. Now we just got to find out exactly how many. All right, little dude, let's see what oh, I got 2 cuttings in here, I forgot. Let's go ahead, I'm gonna use my hoary knife. Just kind of shove it in the soil down beside the plant. And just pop it up like so. And then I want to be careful. I can feel a couple of the roots ripping as I'm pulling up on it. I want to kind of be careful not to rip any more roots off than I have to. So that's a decent amount of roots. I honestly was hoping to see more, but I still think it's time to go ahead and transplant this up into a 1-gallon pot. And just out of curiosity, let's check on this other little cutting that I forgot was even in there. Yeah, he's not done super great. Might be a little bit too wet, the soil. I feel it's wet, not damp. And if you remember from the video, we want damp, moist soil, not wet. So I might have been adding a little bit too much water to him. We're going to put him back in there and let him continue to root himself inside the gallon pot and just water him less often. Take my hoary knife, just kind of make us a nice little void right there. And we'll just plop this guy right back in here and let him continue to grow more roots. And this isn't bad root production. I was hoping to see more, but he's definitely got enough to live on his own. So we're going to go ahead and mix up some soil in a 1-gallon pot and get him planted. And we're going to use 3 products today to put into our 1-gallon pot. I love this Land and Sea organic compost from Espoma. I've had great success with this in the yard. It's nice, chunky, it drains well. And then Happy Frog we use a lot down at Grassroots Garden Center to plant just about everything in. It's just a very good, nutrient-rich, well-draining soil. And then of course, as y'all know, we don't plant anything without using our Espoma Biotone starter fertilizer. This is going to have all the beneficial microbes and fungi that we need, and as well as organic fertilizer to give our little guy a healthy start. So I'm probably just going to use about a 50-50 blend of the Land and Sea to the Happy Frog, mix those together, and then add in a little bit of our Biotone. And we'll just blend these 2 soils together real good. And I'm going to add about a handful of the Espoma. And we want to incorporate that into the soil real well too. Alright, now I didn't fill the pot all the way up with soil just yet, and I'll explain why in just a minute. So what we want to do, again, I'm just going to take my hoary knife, make us a nice deep hole almost all the way to the bottom, because the reason that we pot plants up in the first place in the nursery trade, the reason they go from a 1-gallon to a 3 to a 5 to a 7, etc., is because all the water, when these are getting watered out in the field or wherever, all that water, of course, is gravity pulls it down to the bottom of the pot. So if we were to go throw this little guy in a 5-gallon pot, the top section of that soil is going to dry out first, and he's more than likely not going to make it. So we got us a nice little void almost all the way to the bottom. We're just going to take our little cutting, plop him in there just like that, throw some soil back around his roots just like so. And now I'm going to come and add soil, probably leaving about 1 inch of space to the top of the pot, so that when I do water just doesn't run off the top of the soil over the pot. We want it to stay in the pot, obviously. And I'm going to use some more Land and Sea to kind of top it off and get it up close to the level that I want it. Need a little bit more. Man, I love this compost right here. It has really impressed me out in the yard, adding all that additional organic fertilizer to the soil, and the plants have just loved it. And there you have it, from cutting to now in a 1-gallon container. And here's where we got to figure out what we're going to do with it. So we're in the month of August right now. The main goal behind this propagation is to get him out in the yard before winter. So what I'm going to attempt to do is feed this guy with liquid fertilizer. Of course, we do have the biotone fertilizer in there too, but I wanted him to get some more size to him before I put him out in the yard. The way you have to think about this is that this dude is a baby, and he's got to be taken care of like a baby right now, because as you saw, he doesn't have that many roots. The ideal situation is his roots, fill up the majority of this pot before sometime in October, November. That's when I want to plant him out into the yard. Now you could, if you had an irrigation system with the roots that he has, and you have a good irrigation system, you could go ahead and plant this guy out in the yard, but I wouldn't recommend it just because he has so few roots. If it doesn't stay moist in that soil, then he's going to die. So our goal over the next month or so is to really just take care of this guy, feed him a lot, get as many roots as possible. Then we're going to plant him out in our irrigated shrub bed. Now for some of you in colder climates, this may not be an option. It may be already getting cool where you are. That's why you want to take the cutting early in the season so that you have time to grow out and get as many roots on this guy as possible before planting. But if you are in a very cold climate and you don't have a greenhouse, which I understand most people don't, you could keep this guy in the garage in this pot. But however, you still remember he is alive, he is a baby, and we don't want him freezing and we don't want him drying all the way out throughout the winter. And I should add too, you want to try to keep him growing for as long as possible. You don't want to think about putting him in the garage or anywhere like that until it's gone dormant. I will say this too, the garage is not going to be the best option. The best option is going to be getting him planted in the ground in the fall. However, I do understand, sometimes you don't think about taking the cutting until later in the summer. So if you do have to keep it in the garage, just keep an eye on him and make sure the soil stays somewhat moist, make sure he doesn't freeze all the way, and then hopefully next spring he'll wake up and then you can plant him out in the yard. But I'm going to set my guy right here, that way he's out front and center, and I can remember to give him a little bit more attention, a little bit more fertilizer when I come in here to water the greenhouse. I'll keep you guys posted on his growth, and sometime around October, that's when we're going to find us a good shady spot out in the yard that's well irrigated. We're going to add some land and seed compost, some more biotone at that time, get him planted out in the yard. That way next summer, hopefully we can enjoy those big, beautiful blue blooms. I sure appreciate you guys watching. If you got any questions or comments, drop them in the comment box below. And always remember, the more you know, the more you grow. I'll see you on the next video.